Baseball on the 4th of July, a perfect match, especially in a brand new, beautiful ballpark. The Tampa Bay Rays and Minnesota Twins meeting for the final game of a 4-game series. And we welcome you to Target Field. Bert Flatlov and Dick Raymer, everyone with My 29 and the Minnesota Twins, wishing you a happy and safe holiday weekend. We have reached the halfway point of the 2010 season for the Minnesota Twins, a season, the first half of which that the Twins have been in first place most of the way.
Yeah, right now the Detroit Tigers and the Twins are tied for first place, but let's take a look at the first 81 ball games, and really the Twins have fared pretty well. They've had their ups and downs. They're looking forward to finishing strong in the second half, but the first half, 272 as a ball club. Pitching staff has been very consistent, especially the bullpen, best in the American League as far as ERA.
And so these 3 games played in this series so far have had a playoff-type feel about them, late inning dramatics for each team. When you have 2 really good teams, you're going to have some all-star representation, and both these teams are going to be very well represented.
Well, for the 4th year, Joe Mauer was named an all-star by the fans voting, and congratulations to Joe Mauer. He definitely deserves it. The MVP last year. 3 batting titles already for Joe Mauer. And Justin Morneau, this will be his 4th straight All-Star appearance. He won the MVP award in 2006. They are well representing the Minnesota Twins. And for the Tampa Bay Rays, Carl Crawford, Evan Longoria, they'll be in that starting lineup. And David Price, he may be the starting pitcher in Anaheim.
Well, Jim Thome's not going to the All-Star game, although he has in the past. And yesterday he put on his own personal home run derby. We'll be back with more on that in just a moment. Visit your local Northland Ford dealer or go to northlandford.com. By Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Arby's. Come into Arby's today for their new $1 value menu. Another hot and steamy summer afternoon here at Target Field. Final game of the series between the Rays and the Twins. Twins lost a tough ball game yesterday, but the highlight was Jim Thome, who first tied Harmon Killebrew for 10th on the all-time home run list with another opposite field home run. And then on his next swing, he passed Harmon Killebrew. Now 10th, all alone on the all-time home run list. Impressive to everyone, including the guy he passed.
Harmon Killebrew here to wish Jim Thome congratulations on his 574th home run. That's a lot of home runs, Jim, and I wish I'd have been there to see it, and I'm really glad that you hit it in a Twins uniform. It's a thing that it's not a magic number maybe, but it's a big number, and I hope that you go on to hit a lot more of them in your career. You're a credit to Major League Baseball, to yourself, your team, and everybody is so thrilled that a great guy like you was able to do that. Congratulations.
To Jim Thome, maybe the grandest gentleman in the game today from the grandest gentleman of his era, Harmon Killebrew. Dick Blackburn will pitch for the Twins this afternoon in the series finale. This game that's decided with a bat and a glove. It's the bright, warm sunshine that lights up the day. The feel of fresh-cut green grass when making a play. The aroma is a blend of bratwurst and beer.
Hey, peanuts here!
The peanuts and popcorn just add to the cheer. It's our senses that separate this sport from them all, in an atmosphere unique to the game of baseball. As the Twins step outside, they take a page from the past, when a field on a prairie gave us heroes to last. In their new home downtown, the faces have changed, but the similarities are many, and the heroes remain. Their most valuable players at the top of their game. And while so much is different, some things are the same. From Killer and Carew to the M&M boys, Twins territory is a place that generations enjoy. It's the game, it's the fans, it's the food, it's the fun. This timeless tradition served best with the sun. And partly sunny
nice
skies.
Yep, very nicely done.
Trevor Fleck composed that little tease for this first 4th of July back under the sun. And Jim Thome, with a memorable day yesterday and a Hall of Fame career, and you talked with Jim about it after the game last night, even today when I had a chance to talk with him, just disappointed the way the game turned out, and the Twins hope to rebound from a very tough loss yesterday.
Yeah, Twins had a 4-1 lead going into the 8th inning, and then the Rays ended up scoring 7 runs on a grand slam off the bat of Matt Joyce to defeat the Twins 8-4.
So the Verizon Wireless lineup for Joe Madden: Sean Rodriguez, Carl Crawford, Evan Longoria, Willie Ibar, Matt Joyce, Kelly Shoppick, Carlos Pena, B.J. Upton, and Jason Bartlett.
And that lineup will be facing Nick Blackburn, making his 16th start of the year.
And a first pitch strike to Rodriguez.
And let's take a look at the Schmelz Countryside Saab scouting report on Nick Blackburn. Undefeated here at home in 7 starts. 5-0, very good earned run average. And he's glad July's over with.
Liner to center and down for a hit, and Rodriguez is aboard with a leadoff single.
He is glad June is over with.
The defense brought to you by Northland Ford. Same lineup as yesterday. Delman, Young, Denard Span, Jason Kubel, the outfielders. Michael Kanier, J.J. Hardy, Orlando Hudson, Justin Morneau, the infielders. And Joe Mauer back behind the plate. So the Rays get their leadoff man on. Blackburn hoping to settle in here and get back into a groove, the type of groove he had not in June, but in May when he was very, very good. And if he had been able to back up the month of June with numbers similar to the month of May, he might have gone to the All-Star game.
Yeah, 5-0 in the month of May, but June in 6 starts, 1-5. Excuse me, 1-4 with an ERA over 10.
1-0 to Crawford.
But Blackburn coming off a very good start in his last start against the Tigers.
Pounded foul. Nice catch made by Jose Majares. Caught it with his pitching hand. No, he didn't. He caught it with his glove hand.
Well, this is a guy that's had a very good series so far. Watch Majares kind of reach out and get it with his right hand. Crawford 8 for 16 so far in the first 3 ball games.
And that's lifted foul the other way. 1-2. Crawford, a tough guy to double up, but what Blackburn would like to do more often than not just with men on base, is get guys to hit the ball on the ground. When you give up a base hit, you always got a chance to get 2 outs with 1 pitch.
Well, he's had 13 double plays turned behind him. 1 last start against the Tigers. Tough guy to double up right here in Crawford. Very good speed.
1-2. That's strike 3. Rodriguez got a good read on it. He'll scamper to second, and with first base having been occupied, Crawford is struck out.
That'll be a strikeout and a wild pitch charged to Blackburn on the breaking ball. So Blackburn gets a strikeout, but the ball ends up short hopping Mauer and gets away from him, and that allows Rodriguez to go from first to second. And for Blackburn, that's his first wild pitch of the year.
So one down, a runner at second, and here's Evan Longoria. Oh, excuse me, outside corner, one strike. Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, Longoria will be the third baseman in Anaheim on Tuesday, the starting third baseman. It'll be his third All-Star appearance.
And there's strike two. So Blackburn clips the outside corner twice. Drilled to right field. Kubel can't come up with the play. It'll go to the wall. Rodriguez will score, and Longoria going to third, and he will reach safely with a stand-up triple. So Kubel with the belly flop in right center field couldn't come up with it, and the Rays get the game's first run.
Yeah, we've seen Longoria get some extra base hits and picking up some RBIs in the first 3 ball games here. Taking the pitch too much of the plate right there. Blackburn ahead in the count. Kubel, good effort right here. Can't come up with it. Ball gets behind him. It's Denard Span that has to back him up and get the ball back in. Third triple of the year for Longoria, and he picks up his 57th run driven in.
Here's Ibar, got a big double in that awful 8th inning for the Twins last night. Yesterday afternoon, I should say. And we've seen Ibar in the DH spot, and he's giving the Rays something there that they were not getting from Pat Burrell, who was released, and Hank Blaylock, who was released.
Yeah, a lot of times it'll be Carlos Pena, too. I mean, before when they let those guys go, it was Carlos Pena. But what Joe Maddon's done is he's moved Pena down in the lineup just to try to take some of the pressure off of him as far as that low batting average. He's still driving in runs, 16 home runs, 50 RBIs, but he's not hitting like they feel he can. So they're just trying to take some pressure off of him in that number 4 hole.
Ibar behind in the count, 0-2. Blackburn had Longoria 0-2 before giving up the RBI triple.
Well, what's hurt Blackburn, especially in the month of June, was multi-run innings. Gave up one time. He's given up 2 3-run innings, 1 4-run inning, 1 5-run inning.
It's hit a long way down the line. It'll be a foul ball.
So we always talk about damage control, and that's what really hurt Blackburn in the month of June.
Well, the Twins got him a win. They gave him 11 runs of support, but at one point he had a 2-0 lead, and the Tigers came back, scored 3 in the 3rd inning, and he was behind in the ball game, and then settled down after that. And actually completed 7 innings, allowing just 1 more run. A little dribbler to third. Kadire looks Longoria back and out number 2.
Good pitch right there by Blackburn. Went inner half of the plate to Ibar and kind of jammed himself and hit that little slow roller to Kadire. So Blackburn maybe 1 good pitch away from getting out of this inning, only allowing 1 run. You see the slash type hit on a high fastball. And Ibar an out.
Well, here's the guy who officially turned the game around for the Rays in the 8th inning with a pinch hit grand slam that no one seemed to think would clear the fence in center field. He had a fly ball against Matt Guerrero, and I think everyone thought it was a medium deep to deep fly ball. But for whatever reason, the ball was really carrying here.
Well, Matt Guerrero said that, he hit it pretty good, but we've seen balls hit the center field at that 411, 403 sign that guys crush. But yesterday, even the way that Span went after that ball, he kept drifting back, and finally the ball ended up just over the center field fence.
And now Blackburn gets ahead of Joyce 0-2. The wind much calmer today. It was pretty breezy yesterday, and Depending on when you look, the flags in right field are either limp or just rippling a little bit. Two strikes to Joyce with the Rays up 1-0. Just missed the inside corner.
Well, his first grand slam at the major league level, Matt Joyce topping off that 7-run top of the 8th inning. They take an 8-4 lead. Twins came back with 2 in the bottom of the 9th. Ended up losing that ball game 8-6.
1-2 to Joyce. Bounce to the right side. Morneau takes it himself. Joyce retired. Longoria left at third, but the Rays get one in the first.
A grateful nation and a proud commander-in-chief. So happy 4th of July. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
And to put it another way, happy birthday, America.
Yes, happy birthday. And happy 4th and safe 4th of July to everybody out there.
Yeah, I'm sure right about now the traffic levels will start to build, and just be smart and safe out on the highways, and make sure that next 4th of July you can go out and have another wonderful holiday weekend. Here's Denard Smith.
Wear your seatbelts and do not drink. Get a designated driver, please.
Denard Smith takes low from James Shields. Span hitting at 278 in the first half. And takes low 2-0. You look at the first half numbers and then you double them and try to evaluate a season at the midway point. Shields doing that too, and to that extent it's been a disappointing first half for the guy many thought would be the ace of the Rays staff.
Well, he started the season 5-1, but he has not had a win over his last 7 starts. I did pick up a win in relief about 3 outings ago. But this guy led usually every season he leads the staff in innings pitched.
Handcuff. Pena flips to Shields, 1 away. So a hard ground ball for the first out. Windows concept. Twins batting order. Span followed by Orlando Hudson, Joe Mauer, and Justin Morneau. Red hot. Jason Kubel, Michael Kanier, Jim Thome, Delman Young, and yeah, how about that lineup with J.J. Hardy hitting 9th.
Let's take a look at the Saab's Countryside Volkswagen scouting report on Scott Shields, making his 17th start, 18th appearance. Like I mentioned, 0-7 over his last 7 starts, an ERA at 7.35. And he, like Scott Baker, looking for their 50th win at the major league level.
Down and in, ball 1. Shields has lost 7 of his last 8 decisions, and his only win in that span came as a relief pitcher. Half swing and the dribbler to short. Hudson retired. Northland Ford defense for the Rays. Crawford, Upton, and Joyce in the outfield. Ivar, Bartlett, Rodriguez, and Pena around the infield. And Shopping behind the plate. TJ Upton started this series on the bench. He's started the last couple of games now.
Well, congratulations to Joe Mauer making his 4th All-Star appearance. He'll be the starting catcher in Anaheim for the American League, and also the other M, Justin Morneau, making his 4th All-Star appearance, his first start in the All-Star appearance.
Twins haven't had 2 starters in the All-Star game since 1968, when 2 Hall of Famers, Killebrew and Carew, were named to the starting lineup. And in Mauer's case, he's the top overall vote getter in the balloting in either league. So not just at the catching position, case can be made that Joe Mauer is the most popular player in the major leagues.
Yeah,
right
even
now.
over Albert Pujols, who led the National League in most votes. Oh, Mauer 3 hits in yesterday's ball game, a couple singles and a double. Tied with Justin Morneau with 24 doubles on the ball club.
Checks his swing, 2-1.
And Shields, Scott Shields, good fastball in the low 90s. Sometimes he'll hit 94. Mixing a curveball, little cut fastball, and a very good circle changeup. Shields is making his 7th career start against the Twins. He's 2-1 lifetime, but he's never won here in Minnesota in 3 starts.
2-2.
Mauer 7 for 15 lifetime against Shields.
And a base hit between the third baseman and the shortstop.
And make that 8 for 16 now for Joe Mauer against Scott Shields. And your typical Joe Mauer hit. Ball left up, and he just hits it to left field. See the breaking ball just kind of left up, and Joe just slapping it in that hole between third and short. Twins get their first hit.
And here's Morneau. Hit his 17th home run of the year yesterday. And to hear Justin Pellet, he hit the home run over the scoreboard in right field just barely. Ripped down the right field line and a fair ball. How far can Mauer go? He's to third. He's coming home. And Morneau has tied the game with a double. Two-out hitting, and the 3 and 4 hitters come through in the first inning.
Another reason why these guys are all-stars. Justin got a pitch up and hit it over the head of Pena down that first baseline. And then in that corner.
You know what? Balls tend to just disappear in there, literally from our standpoint, because we can't see the ball. But when's the last time you saw a ball hit into that corner and you got to carry them?
Well, it rolls, and then there's that little bit of a gap, maybe like a 4 or 5 inch gap underneath that padding, and the ball sometimes hits there, and it'll stop right there. That's what it did right there. So it took Matt Joyce a little while to get that ball back into the infield. Scotty Alger, the third base coach, saw that, and he sent Mauer home. So good job by Scotty Alger.
First pitch fastball, strike 1 to Jason Kubel.
And Morneau picking up his 55th RBI of the year on his 25th double.
So Mauer with a 2-strike single to left, and very quickly he runs from first base on Morneau's double and ties the game. Tap foul, 2 strikes. Should add that the same is true of the left field corner. Balls roll down the left field line and they just stop in there.
Well, you see that maybe a 6-inch, 8-inch little area underneath the padding, and then the dirt. The ball sometimes hug in there and kind of get slowed up.
At least enough clearance there for a squirrel to run under, because we've seen that this year too.
In case it rains, good protection. See, the Twins were thinking of everything when they built this place.
Fans are protected. If it rains, they can go back in the concourse area. Squirrels can run under the outfield fence. 2 strikes to Kubel. 5th man to bat here against James Shields. Kubel strikes out, leaving Morneau at second base. First 2 outs came quickly. The All-Stars, the starting All-Stars for the Twins, emerge in the The special caps that will be worn by all players, coaches, and managers for this weekend's of Major League action are also available for sale to the public at www.mlb.com. Major League Baseball Properties Incorporated will donate all of the proceeds it receives from the sale of the caps to Welcome Back Veterans. In addition, MLB.com will donate an additional $1 to Welcome Back Veterans for each cap purchase through www.mlb.com. Since the effort began back in 2008, Welcome Back Veterans has awarded $8.3 million in grants to 30 nonprofit agencies across the country, targeting veterans and their families' greatest needs.
Boy, isn't that great.
I had the wrong lineup originally issued, and it's Kelly Shopik hitting in the 6th spot, Pena hitting 7th.
Yeah, Shopik, very good numbers against Nick Blackburn. 6 hits in 9 at-bats with a couple home runs. Those numbers coming when he was with the Cleveland Indians. Shopik in his first year with the Rays, signing a 2-year deal as a free agent with the Rays over the winter. Spent some time on a disabled list with a right knee strain.
Blackburn getting ahead of just about everybody, 0-2. And he strikes out Shopik. Strikeout number 2. And that'll bring up Pena.
A good fastball, had some sink on it, down in the strike zone. Good arm angle. Shopik swinging through it.
One gone, and here is Pena. The Seattle Mariners have opened up the ball game in the 5th inning. They have a 7-1 lead over Detroit. Nice backhanded play by Morneau. And Blackburn to the bag, a quick second out. So the Tigers, who climbed into a first-place tie with the Twins, are in danger of losing their series finale against King Felix and the Tigers.
That'll be a good series when the Twins do see the Tigers in those last 3 games just before the All-Star break. Twins have tomorrow off, then they head to Toronto for a 3-game series, and then that 3-game weekend series in Detroit.
I beg your pardon, it's Cliff Lee going for the Mariners today, not Felix Hernandez. Here's B.J. Upton. How much stock did you put into the first half, the numbers, whether it be team-wise or individually?
Well, of course, on an individual basis, you want to have good numbers because then that hopefully helps the team numbers out.
Right.
So they kind of go hand in hand. You take care of your own business, and then hopefully, everybody else around you does their job too. You want to be in the race. I always looked at the latter part of August going into early September. If you're close, that's where you want to be. All-star breaks are nice. They give the players, most of them, a break to just kind of refocus. Some guys have great first halves, and then all of a sudden, the page turns and they don't do very well in the second half. Some guys are solid all the way through. It's just kind of like a turning point. Even though it's not, in the middle, it's not like game 81 or right after 81.
Hudson with a nice play, but Upton beats it out, a 2-out single.
Yeah, great effort right there by Orlando Hudson, but B.J. Upton, even though he has that little bit of a right quad strain, still able to beat it out. So going up the middle, Hudson off balance throw, and Upton gets an infield base hit.
So the Rays with their third hit, it comes with 2 outs in the second, and here's the number 9 hitter, Jason Barton. Blackburn typically does a good job holding runners. He delivers strike 1.
Well, one thing that the Rays like to do in our Menard's key stat, they like to run the most stolen bases in the American League and Major League Baseball. You can see the Chicago White Sox, and that's a surprise, have stolen 74 bases. Juan Pierre has really helped with that over in Chicago.
Toward the hole. Hardy backhands, fires a rocket to Hudson to get the force at second base. Good play by J.J. Hardy. And the Rays are down in the second.
Stationed in Basra, Iraq. We just want to say hello to everybody back home in Minnesota. Go Tigers!
Very nice. And again, our thanks to all the men and women who have so valiantly served our country, as we should indeed celebrate on this day our country's independence.
Yes, God bless all of you, and thank you. Thank you for your service.
Michael Kadire will lead off the second against James Shields, each team getting a first inning run. Kadire, Thome, and Young. to left center field. Upton chasing it and chasing it down. So Kadire hits it a long way to fellow Virginian B.J. Upton, one away. That'll bring up Jim Thome. Thome with 2 home runs yesterday and nearly a third. He passed number 3 in the all-time home run list, and he almost, for the 3rd time in his career, hit 3 in a game.
Well, before the ball game, they announced Jim Thome and, passing Harmon Killebrew, and they had him come out, and he got a very nice standing ovation from this crowd. And again, 40,000 Twin fans, and Jim Thome in his first season, he saw a lot of the Jim Thome home runs were against the Twins, but the fans still on their feet congratulating Jim Thome on 574 career home runs.
2 down in the second. We mentioned before that Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau are starters for the American League team. A third Twin has a chance to be there, and tip your cap to Delmon Young. He's on the All-Star final vote along with Paul Konerko, Nick Swisher, Michael Young, and Kevin Youkilis. He rips it. Just foul by an inch or 2. Right over the head of Tim Timmons. And Young nearly got another 2-out hit for the Twins.
For the last month and a half, nobody in the American League, maybe other than Josh Hamilton's been swinging a hotter bat than Delmon Young. So he's on that list of 5 that voters can vote for.
Now off the end of the bat, Bartlett has to charge it. Almost has a roll out of his glove, but Young retired, and Shields has a 1-2-3, 5-pitch second inning. Here to talk about baseball's link and connection to ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And Dr. Crum, it's a sad connection, I guess, but in some way Lou Gehrig has kind of put a name to a disease that people are kind of confused about as to what it really is.
That's right. Lou Gehrig, who's named, we use today for the disease most people know about, Lou Gehrig's disease, but unfortunately he was stricken with that in the 30s. He was actually a patient at Mayo Clinic,
and the ball's jumping again today with Sean Rodriguez hitting a fly ball to left, and it just had enough to get out, and the Rays have a 2-1 lead.
That's what I think everybody wanted to see, and excuse me, Dr. Crum, for stepping on your toes right here, but yesterday the ball seemed like it was flying. Jim Thome's 2 home runs took off that way, and even Matt Joyce's home run to straightaway center. And right here, Rodriguez getting the ball up, and Delmon looks like he's got room to catch it, but it just keeps drifting over him. and ends up hitting right off that wall and into the flowers for a home run, his 6th home run of the year.
So it's 2-1, and Carl Crawford, the hitter, a strikeout victim his first time up, and he rolls one foul. Lou Gehrig passed away in the 1930s from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Good. And I know of that because Kent Herbeck and a lot of other, Terry Steinbach, I know too, locally have gone out of their way to try to raise awareness of ALS.
That's right, and we at our clinic at Mayo utilize resources at the Herbeck Singh Center quite a bit. It's been invaluable for patients in Minnesota for sure.
Where have you come as far as finding a cure, and also is there a way to detect it at an early age?
Well, in terms of diagnosis, it's still really a clinical diagnosis. We have electrodiagnostic tools we use to try to help make as early diagnosis as possible. But in general, it may take up to a year before the symptoms fully are apparent enough to make the diagnosis. So I think that's the challenging thing about it. In terms of treatment, certainly we all wish we had better treatments, but right now in 2010 we really don't have the treatment for this disease. But there's certainly a lot of basic science research that we're doing, part of basic science and clinical research, to try to move the science and the field forward. Hopefully someday we'll have better treatments.
I don't know that much about ALS. I'll be honest with you. Does it hit young kids? Does it hit adults more than youngsters?
No, it usually strikes people in their 50s and 60s. Okay. And a little bit more predominance for men and women. But most patients are in the 50s and 60s, although we've seen young individuals and we've seen old individuals, but that's an average.
Is it hereditary?
Rarely, very rarely. Okay. Sometimes it does run in families, but I'd say probably 80 to 90% of what we see is just what we call sporadic, meaning it just happens.
Crawford with a fly ball, a fair ball catch by Young.
That was a good job of defense right there for the Twins, because over the first 3 ball games, Crawford has hit that ball down that left field line and has been rewarded with 2 doubles. So the shift was put on for Crawford in the outfield to guard that line, and that ball was hit down that line, and Delman Young was right there.
That'll bring up Evan Longoria, who tripled to the gap in right center field his first time up. Jason Kubel with a diving attempt, coming up just a little bit short, and now a lazy fly ball headed to short right field, and Kubel, now Hudson, makes the catch in short right field. Well, Doctor, just in this past week, I lost a good friend to ALS, and we've been involved, the Twins have, with the Diamond Awards every winter, which has become kind of an umbrella fundraiser for ataxia and ALS and things like that, and Parkinson's too. And I know there's no direct link between all of those diseases on a clinical standpoint, but they're all diseases and afflictions where there's an awful lot of research going on right here in Minnesota, the Mayo Clinic and at the University of Minnesota.
That's right, and you're right. A lot of these are what we call degenerative conditions like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and ALS sort of fits into that group of diseases where, you're right, there's a lot being done between the University of Minnesota and Mayo.
2 down, and Ibar bunts it foul, 1 strike.
You know, as you go in for your physicals, can a lot of this be detected through blood work?
Yeah, really, blood work isn't too helpful to make the diagnosis. Sometimes it helps you rule out other things. But in most cases, it's the history we get, which is generally patients come in and say they've been getting weaker. Their foot's been slapping on the ground, their hand's getting weaker. Sometimes it starts with some slurred speech. And so initially the symptoms are often thought to be a pinched nerve or maybe even a stroke. But as things get worse and patients get weaker, then it becomes more apparent. But usually it's a history and an examination by a physician.
1-2 to Willie Ibar. He hit a ground ball to third his first time up, visiting with Dr. Brian Crum from the Mayo Clinic. A high fly to right, and how far will that carry? Kubel coming in. A home run to start the inning, and then Blackburn gets the next 3 batters, a total of 12 pitches, and our thanks to Dr. Brian Crum for the visit.
Thank you very much for having me. Yep, you're welcome.
North Minnesota, Minnesota Air National Guard. We're at Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan.
And the Twins are down 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the third inning.
There you go. You are hereby circled.
J.J. Hardy will lead off the third for the Twins, and Denard Span and Orlando Hudson facing Gene Shields, who's been handed his second one-run lead. Hardy telling me this morning that his injured wrist is 100%. It's all gone. He hasn't felt any twinges of anything really since he started playing on his rehab assignment in Beloit.
Yeah, good day at the plate yesterday. A double in his second at bat, and a base hit in his third. So 2 for 4 in yesterday's ball game.
Pop up deep short. Bartlett out, sunglasses down. And the wind pushing that out into short left field, 1 away. I asked Hardy what it was like in Beloit, and he said, well, you know, he almost was sent there after he signed his contract. Instead, he went to high A ball for the Brewers, but he got a little scouting report on the playing conditions and Beloit in general from Prince Fielder and some other Brewer players who started their professional career in Class A ball in Beloit, Wisconsin. Now the Twins Class A affiliate in the Midwest League. Here's Span, hit a ground ball, a hard one to Pena to start the ball game. Strike one. Span in the first 81 games scoring 49 runs. So on a pace to score right around 100 runs, which should be an easily obtainable number, I would think, for Span, who draws walks, is going to hit around 300 and has some RBI guys hitting behind him.
Yeah, Span has hit extremely well here at Target Field, coming into the ball game hitting 366 here at Target Field. One thing he would like to do as the season, gets to that, now the second half of the season, is hit better on the road. But right now he's concentrating on trying to get a base hit off of Scott Shields.
Bumps it toward the Tampa Bay dugout, 1-2.
One thing the Rays have with Scott Shields is a guy that's been very durable. Since 2006, when he came up with the Rays, he has not missed a start. He was in the bullpen like 3 outings ago, and he ended up getting a win against the Florida Marlins. But a guy that has pitched over 200 innings over the last 3 seasons. He'll give up more hits to innings pitched, but he's out there and he'll make his 30, 35 starts a year. He's run into a streak now where wins are hard to come by unless he goes out to the bullpen and picks up another one. But as a starter over his last 7 starts, again, 0-7.
Two and 2 to Span. That's deep to right, but hooking. Foul.
Yeah, Shields going with a fastball in. Span opening up a little bit too quick. Got great wood on it, but the ball hit into that right field area, but to the right of that right field foul pole. Well, he got it good right there, and Span knew, I think, right there that ball's going to hook foul.
2 and 2. And now a grounder to second. Rodriguez is there. 2 away. You can get a behind-the-scenes view of Target Field. Public and private tours of the great new ballpark are available now. And to find out ballpark tour dates and times, or to reserve a private tour for a larger group, visit twinsbaseball.com or call 800-33-TWINS. Twins have just 2 hits. They both came with 2 outs in the first. Maurer's single, Morneau's double, and the Twins had the game tied. Now Hudson will try to produce a 2-out hit. Down and away, ball 1.
Yeah, Hudson looking for his first hit in this series, 0 for 13 so far.
1-1. Sky Skies opening up now, beautifully partly cloudy skies over Target Field. Threat of rain for, I think, the only time in the whole homestand here today. And there's his first hit. Solid single to right. That'll get Mauer to the plate with a man aboard.
Well, you talk about it, 0 for 13, and he gets a base hit right there. Now, Joe Mauer has not homered here yet at Target Field, so I'm going to talk about that.
All right.
You never know.
Mauer's average for a long time now, hovering right around 300. And I think as much as anything else, of course, fans and Mauer himself would like for more home runs to come. I'm not so sure they'd want him to hit the ball any differently than he did in the first half, just in a different direction. He is far and away, I think, leading the team in line drive outs.
Well, Joe's game, and that's where we've seen a lot of his power, is at that 377 mark out in the left center. Now, yesterday he got 3 hits, 2 singles to left field, and then they pitched him in, and he hit the double down the right field line in his third at bat.
What we have seen with all the homestands before this one, in this homestand alone, Jim Thome has 4 opposite field home runs. There were only 2 opposite field home runs and none by a left-handed batter before this homestand. Now, Jim Thome is stronger than Joe Mauer, but I think, you know, the one thing to look for in the months ahead now, maybe the ball is carrying more, and maybe with that, Mauer will benefit as well as all the other hitters hitting the ball to the opposite field.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Carl Crawford is playing as shallow as he is, because that's where Joe's power is. And we've seen Crawford in the first couple ball games be able to go back, but still, I think he's playing very shallow. See if Joe can burn him over his head. Scott Shields, 28 years old, in his 5th season with the Rays.
Mauer 8 for 16 against Shields. 3 hits for the Twins, all of them coming with 2 outs in an inning. And 2-1, and Shopik can't find it right away, so Hudson goes to second.
Now, wild pitch will be charged to Shields, his 6th wild pitch of the year. But this ball, watch it go up and over the head of Shopik, so he can't find it. You see, kind of over to his left shoulder. Finally, by the time he could find it, Hudson scoots to second, gets into scoring position.
2-1 to Mauer, who might be able to tie the game up with a hit to the outfield. Three and 1 with Morneau on deck. Mauer, I believe, is the first Twin to be the most popular vote getter in Major League Baseball since the days of Rod Carew. For the longest time, Carew was the top vote getter on an annual basis in the All-Star balloting.
Well, I think winning the batting titles, winning the MVP. Now he has Joe.com.
Fly ball left center field, and Upton lopes back to end the inning. Twins put together a threat with 2 gone in the 3rd, but it's the Rays still leading 2-1.
A 1-1 ball game. Last inning, hit a solo home run leading off the third inning, giving the Rays a 2-1 lead. And Justin Morneau named to his 4th All-Star game. They're making the announcement now. He and Joe Mauer will be going to Anaheim. As you look at the final totals here.
And under the assumption that David Price is going to be the starting pitcher, that means of the 10 starting spots for the American League, half of them are here on the field or with the 2 teams today. Evan Longoria, Carl Crawford, David Price for the Rays, and Morneau and Mauer for the Twins. And you can vote for Delman Young and try to get him in the wild card spot. Swing and a miss by Joyce. Joyce, Shopik, and Pena to face Blackburn here in the 4th. Miss.
Well, Blackburn doing a good job of getting strike 1. 12 of 14 batters he has faced, he's been able to get strike 1 on. He has given up 4 hits.
Pounded foul. For contending teams, I've always thought the month of July was a critical month in terms of an individual's performance. The trading deadline is at the end of this month, and the Twins clearly have designs on getting back into postseason play, and what moves they make, if any, will depend on how Blackburn pitches and how some other players perform. And if those players want to be a part of everything all the way through to the end of the season and into October, July is kind of an important month. You identify needs based on how guys are performing before the trade deadline.
Yeah, and some teams trade early, like the Texas Rangers did when they got Benji Molina from the Giants. Some teams wait till the last second. Speculation, Cliff Lee, who started today against Detroit in Detroit, was that going to be his last start for the Seattle Mariners? Have to wait and see.
Another ground ball foul.
You know, this time of the year, what you do, you see a lot of scouts at the ballparks just to make sure that if a guy's name is mentioned, that, you know, they're going to look to say, is he swinging a bat? Is he feeling good? Does he look good? You know, how's he? They'll talk to the managers, the attitude that they have. A lot of things come into play when a guy gets traded to a new ball club.
Not sure where Joyce fouled that ball off, but he's feeling the foul tip.
Blackburn doing a good job of working both sides of the plate, and he went hard inside to Joyce, and he fouled it off on himself.
One and two. Now, you were traded a number of times. Were you ever traded in the month of July, just right around the trading deadline?
No, I was always traded earlier. Like when I came back to the Twins, I think it was in June, I believe.
Swing and a miss. One away in the 4th.
And Blackburn picks up his third strikeout of the ball game.
Well, some familiar names in the reserve list for the American League. Torrey Hunter making another All-Star appearance, this time representing the Angels. David Ortiz, another former Twin, the designated hitter going. How about John Buck, who just seemed to have his career hit an obstacle or hit a plateau in Kansas City, goes to Toronto, now he's going to the All-Star game.
Yeah, good for him.
1-0 to Kelly Shopik.
Blackburn 50 pitches, 40 have been strikes. So he is pounding that strike zone.
Just off the plate, 2-1.
Blackburn making his 16th start, his 82nd career start. 29 wins, 29 losses in his young career.
And now 3-1. There's the outside corner and shop it. Called back to home plate by Alfonso Marquez. There's two characters involved in one of the more curious plays here on Thursday night when Marquez called Shopik safe on a tag at third base. Umpires have worked their way around in the rotation to get Marquez behind the plate. Left side. Off the glove of Kadir and then past Hardy into left field. Shopik's aboard with a 1-out single.
I mentioned in his first at bat, very good numbers against Blackburn coming into the ball game. He did strike out in his first at bat, but then that ball hit right to the left of Kadir. He moves over off the tip of his glove into left field. So Shopik now 7 for 11 lifetime against Nick Blackburn.
That'll bring up Pena. He hit a ground ball to Morneau his first time up. And a strike that covers the inside corner. High fly to center. Span back. And out number 2. Take a look at the pitching staff for the American League. David Price might be the starter. Fausto Carmona, the only Indian going to the All-Star game. Joaquim Soria, the only Royal going to the All-Star game. Well, I think the American League is going to win. How can the National League score any runs against that lineup of pitchers?
Pretty good arms right there.
B.J. Upton, the hitter, with 2 gone and a runner at first. Another fly ball. This one to shorter center. Span coming in. That ends the inning. Well, Blackburn getting most of his outs on fly balls. And it's a 2-1 game.
Minnesota, and I'm stationed here in hot weather, 130 plus degree Basra, Iraq. Just wanted to say, go Twins. I love you, Joel, and I love you, family and friends. See you soon.
Well, thank you very much. Now, who do you suppose she refers to, or she means when she says Joe? Could it be Joe Mauer, Joe Nathan, or her husband?
Hopefully family member.
Yeah. Stacy, Minnesota, a little bit north and east of Target Field here.
Yeah, a little cooler here this afternoon.
Bet you the ball really carries well in Basra, you suppose? Justin Morneau will lead off the fourth for the Twins. He'll be followed by Jason Kubel and Michael Kadire. Morneau driving in the first Twins run back in the first inning. And he takes a strike at the knees. Morneau is 55th run batted in the season. Big swing and a foul back. The next question regarding Morneau, I suppose, would be whether he'll be invited to and whether he'll accept the invitation if extended to the Home Run Derby, which has become an event unto itself. Joe Mauer has said, he was a participant last year, that if asked again this year, he'll go. I don't know who puts that event together, whether they would want two players from the same team. Here's Morneau driving it to right center field and coming in to make the catch. The right fielder, Matt Joyce, one away. You can submit a question to us online at carsoup.com/baseball. Phil Strong from Plymouth, Minnesota. Which American League player that did not make the All-Star roster is the most deserving?
Boy, you know what? We just got the list not too long ago. I haven't really had a chance to look at everybody and say, you know, boy, how did they keep this guy off?
Right. You know, and they could have 50 players on the All-Star team, and the argument would persist, I suppose, who got left off. But a baseball All-Star team, they've tried to make it easier for players to be put on the team. But like the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's tougher to be honored by baseball than probably any other sport. See
there's always going to be somebody left off,
sure,
like Jose Guillen, you know, with Kansas City. He's having a pretty good year down there, so I don't believe he's on there.
You can see the shift the Rays put on for Kubel, and he drops one into center field for a base hit. A one-out single. Yeah, Guillen, with numbers that would be worthy of all-star consideration, but then, you're going to put two Royals on the team? They fired their manager and have been in last place most of the year.
Yeah, but Soria, I mean, he deserves it. And then Guillen had that 21-game hitting streak in June, where he helped kind of carry the Royals when they were playing pretty good baseball back then.
I would think there would be a third catcher invited. So if there's a catcher out there that you think is has been snubbed, the catchers listed: John Buck, Victor Martinez, and Mauer, but Martinez is on the disabled list, won't be available, and they'll need to add another catcher, or else John Buck's chances of playing in the game aren't very good at all. Although there's a rule change this year, isn't there? I just thought of that, where there's like a re-entry rule for catchers. Here's Kadire taking outside, 2-0. Twins trying to get it tied up here. They had a threat in the third. Now a one-out single by Kubel in the fourth. Chopped foul off the leg.
Maybe a Mike Napoli with the Angels. He's got a pretty good year going. Some power. Kurt Suzuki.
See, now I like that. I like that because I think Suzuki's one of the better catchers in the game. Napoli, I think, has seen more time at first base than behind the plate now with injury to Kendry Morales. 2-1 to Kadire. Bouncer to third. A convenient hop for Longoria, and they go around the horn to end the inning. So Kubel gets a hit, but Shields faces just 3 men on the fourth. Happy 4th of July and 4th of July holiday weekend. We're at Target Field, a hot summer afternoon. Dick and Bert with you from Target Field.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to see the Twins quit doing in the second half, and that's hitting into so many double plays. They've hit into 95 double plays, the most in Major League Baseball. But then again, you have to have runners on to hit into double plays, and the Twins have been able to do that with a .272 team batting average. Dyer's hit into 14 of them. Mauer has hit into 14 double plays.
Jason Bartlett taking ball 1 from Nick Blackburn. So you look to the second half of the year and you hope that the Twins are a little more efficient with their base runners. 1-1. You can almost guarantee that you're going to need some help from the AAA team. Bouncer to short, a jam shot. Hardy scoops it up and throws Bartlett out. As much as you need your reinforcements from the minor leagues in the first half, you'll need even more reinforcements probably in the second half. Twins baseball brought to you in high definition by Comcast. And all this talk about Cliff Lee, will throw another name out there. Kevin Millwood might be shot by the Orioles. You know, the Twins' history has been to, whenever possible, fill from within, and to that end, an encouraging performance last night by Glenn Perkins. And Ron Gardenhire singled him out this morning as somebody the Twins might need in the second half. It was a miserable first half for Perkins in AAA, but all it really would take for him to do would be to string 2 or 3 really good outings together, and I think he would be in the mix for a call-up here.
Yeah, Pat Neshek looking like he's throwing the ball well again down in AAA. Another name that has been with the Twins before. We had Billy Smith here, the other night, and they're not going to give away the house. They're not going to give away some talented young minor leaguers if they don't get what they want. Cliff Lee, that's kind of like rent a pitcher for 3 months because he's a free agent at the end of the year. And will the Twins be able to afford him? Probably not.
2-1 to Rodriguez, who has scored both runs for the Rays today. All the way.
And look at the Rays right here. This young man right here, Sean Rodriguez, didn't get to play a lot of playing time with the Angels. Comes here, and he's gotten some big hits in this series, but he's done a very good job defensively. Made a couple great plays yesterday. Very solid young player. Now getting an opportunity to get some at-bats here in Tampa.
By kind of solidifying the second base position for the Rays, that's allowed another really good player, Ben Zobrist, an all-star last year, to fill in some other spots that the Rays have needed some help in. Here's a flare to right field. Hudson out, won't get there, and Rodriguez has his third hit. So a one-out single for Sean Rodriguez. That'll get Carl Crawford to the plate.
Yeah, 3 hits for Rodriguez, 6 hits for the Rays so far. So my California Mass says he got half of them so far.
Crawford struck out in the first, hit a fly ball to left in the third.
Yeah, Crawford will be making his 4th All-Star appearance.
And Cliff Lee, of course, can be a free agent after this season. So too can Carl Crawford. And the difference in the two players, they're both going to hit the market and be highly sought after players. But Lee is playing for a team that's out of contention, and the Rays obviously are a team in contention. There's a sense of urgency around this Tampa Bay franchise that they need to win this year, because not only is Crawford a free agent, so is Carlos Pena. And if the Rays were in the position that the Mariners find themselves in, then we'd be hearing about, well, which team is going to acquire Carl Crawford and Carlos Pena before the trading deadline. But they're in the race, and they've got no choice but to hold on to these players, unless things really unravel throughout the month of July. One strike to Crawford.
I hate losing a guy like Crawford because he's kind of been the face of the franchise for the Rays. Signed by the Rays back in 1999 in his 9th season with the Rays.
Bouncer towards second. Hudson gets the lead runner, and that's all they'll get. 2 away. Good play by Hudson to get the front runner. 2 away, leaving Crawford at first.
Yeah, with that speed, they do not hit into a lot of double plays. They've hit into only 46 double plays compared to the Twins' 95. And J.J. Hardy knows right there, just get the force out. No chance to get to Speedy Crawford for the double play.
Here's Longoria, drove in the first run for Tampa Bay with the triple. I don't think it would be too far-fetched, Bert, to suggest that, well, the Twins were with Joe Mauer where the Rays are with Carl Crawford, both of them in essence franchise players. Unless we're playing where we're playing today, the Twins would be left with the same probable outcome the Rays find themselves in with Carl Crawford. Mauer would overprice the team he played for and be gone through free agency the first available opportunity. If the Rays had a new ballpark or one on the horizon, their chances of retaining Crawford would be a whole lot better. But I don't think there's anybody in baseball who thinks he's going to stay in the St. Petersburg area, because the Rays don't have the revenue to support that kind of a contract.
Yeah, I mean, St. Petersburg wants to keep the Rays in Pinellas County. But a lot of baseball people feel that the ball club would be better in the Tampa area across the bay than where it is now.
2 strikes to Longoria.
And that's where the politicians and everything else that comes into play is going to delay any type of stadium proposal. There was a stadium proposal at one time where Al Lang Field was in St. Petersburg, but that's kind of gone now.
2 strikes to Longoria. Crawford at first, a threat to steal.
Crawford with 29 stolen bases. He's been caught 8 times. Again, Blackburn very good at holding on runners. Only 3 attempts of steals against Blackburn this year. So Juan Pierre with the White Sox leading with 30 stolen bases. And only 1 have been successful against Blackburn in 3 attempts.
Twins pitch out.
Now, why is Blackburn so hard to run against? He does a good job of holding the ball. Very quick home. He'll utilize that slide step. Steve Little looking at signs over at Tom Foley or somewhere on the bench. Maybe Joe Madden giving signs.
Foul back. I guess if you're a bench coach, you have a 4-game series like this. This is kind of payday. You've seen the other team for 3 prior days. You maybe have an idea what signs they use. Have learned something about your opponent. That's a close play at first. You should have learned something about your opponent in the first 3 days of the series. And you had a 4-game series. You know, would a team change signs within the series?
They change indicators. That's the biggest thing. The first place that, you know, Tom Foley touches sometimes changes. The hat first, and then he'll go to his chest. That might be the bunt, you know, or the hat and the rub down the right thigh might be, you know, the steal one day, but then touching the jersey first and then rubbing down might be a different indicator. So they change indicators a lot, meaning that's where if they touch that, it's the next place they touch is a sign. And then sometimes they rub it across their chest that everything is off.
Borno with a nice pickup to end the inning.
What a great play by Justin.
Hard ground ball could have extended the inning. Instead, it's the final out, and it's still 2-1.
Wonderful Basra, Iraq. I just want to say hi to my family and friends back home. I love you, Nicole. Show them what Minnesota baseball is all about. Sting the Rays!
Very nice. You know, that's great that Fox and everybody has that opportunity to get these guys to say thank you and just say hello.
And stateside, if you know of a family, I think all of us probably do, as someone stationed overseas, acknowledge them too in this holiday weekend. Here's Jim Thome to start the 5th for the Twins against James Shields. Check swing and a foul, with the Twins having not so much Mauer, but Morneau, Kubel, and Thome, and the Rays have a similar shift going on for all three. And Evan Longoria probably played some shortstop in his day, but he's spending half his time playing where a shortstop normally plays, it seems, through the Twins batting order. Foul back. 1-2. Ron Gardenhire saying today that Jim Thome has had some foot problems for the Twins. Had those problems relieved a couple weeks ago with a special orthotic device in his shoe. Thome has had some plantar fasciitis, but he had a structural issue in one of his feet, but he's gotten a special pad to put inside his spike, and the relief was immediate. missing again. Close pitches taken for balls 2 and 3.
Well, one thing Jim told me, yes, a lot of power, but also very good eye at the plate.
Full count to the leadoff man in the 5th. And he beats the shift. Flaring one to left.
Well, Shields went inside, and Jim told me with his strength just fought it off and hit it to the right of the shortstop, third baseman Longoria. In the left field, Twins get their 5th hit of the ball game.
Arby's trivia, who's the only Twin besides Joe Mauer to lead the American League in All-Star voting, and I think I gave the answer earlier. But we'll let you play along, see if you were paying attention. Here's Delman Young. Now, the special orthotic pad in Thome's shoes isn't going to make him any faster, but it will allow him to run without pain.
Have you seen Jim Thome run? That's got to hurt anyway.
Swing and a miss, 1-1. Young might be the 3rd Twins All-Star. As we appealed to you over the last couple of weeks to vote for Justin Morneau, we can turn our appeal now to Delman Young. Pounded foul. You can vote at MLB.com for Delman Young until Thursday. For that matter, you can vote for the other 4 guys if you'd like, but we're encouraging you to vote for Delman Young.
Yes.
1 and 2. Little roller to short, and they get one and safe at first. Young beat it out in the inning. A little bit more alive because of Young's hustle down the line.
Yeah, good hustle right there by Delman Young. The grass kind of sucked this ball up a little bit. A breaking ball down and away. Delman hits it off the end of the bat, so Bartlett has to feed it to him quickly, and that being Rodriguez, and then the relay throw, and Delman beat it out. It's a good hustle right there by Delman down that first baseline.
Here's J.J. Hardy. Hardy with a pop-up to short his first time up. Hey, it works both ways. In the first couple years after the trade, when Bartlett made the All-Star team last year and Garza was starring in the playoffs, the trade looked heavily in Tampa Bay's favor. Here's Delman Young with a chance to be an All-Star. Jason Bartlett won't be there, and neither will Matt Garza. So it's an old saying in baseball, you have to wait years to evaluate a trade. And
it was a good trade, I think, for both ball clubs.
Yeah. It's 1-0 to J.J. Hardy. Young takes off, and Hardy tries to shoot it behind him.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Ron Gardenhire put a little hit and run on right there with Young taking off. Dopic has thrown out only 2 of 11 potential base stealers. And Delman does have 3 stolen bases.
One and one. Young dies back. Hardy telling me this morning that he's really impressed with the makeup of some of the players at Beloit, going down to low A ball to play 3 games because of its proximity to the major league club. 1-1. Young goes on a hit and run, and this time Young is out at second base. He did not get a good jump, and then Hardy ends up swinging through a pitch. 2 away.
Yeah, another hit and run put on, I'm sure, right there by Ron Gardenhire. Back-to-back attempts for Hardy to maybe shoot that ball into right field. The pitch down and the high throw, but Delman Young tagged out. So a caught stealing of Delman Young for the second out.
1-2 to Hardy. Comes inside to get strike 3. So the Twins get another hit, but again in the 5th. Shields faces just 3 men. Grand slam by Matt Joyce just barely cleared the wall in center, and that's the difference in the game in the final game of this series. A little short home run to left. Nick Blackburn pitching to the Rays in the 6th, facing Willie Ibar to lead things off. Ball 1, Ibar with a bouncer to third and a fly ball to right. In the 5th, Blackburn got his 3 outs on ground ball. Now a foul.
Yeah, both starters looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Blackburn has given up at least 1 hit in all 5 innings he has pitched so far. And you want to keep the game close because over the first 3 ball games there have been 26 runs scored between these ball clubs in the first 3 innings combined, and 16 of the 26 have come from the 7th inning on.
Yeah. Called strike 1 and 2. Yeah, yesterday Twins had the game under control until the 8th inning, and then the Rays kind of did to the Twins what the Twins did to the Phillies a couple weeks earlier. Big late inning rally. Twins coming back late on Friday to win a ball game. The Rays coming back Thursday.
Well, one thing about yesterday's ball game is the only second time this season the Twins lost a lead after the 7th inning. They're 40-2 when they have the lead after the 7th inning. And the 7 runs allowed in the 8th inning in yesterday's ball game was the most the pitching staff has given up so far this year in 1 inning. So just an ugly inning.
Pitch number 80 for Blackburn. That's hit a long way, but it's going to hook foul. Ooh. Ibar's got a little more power than his brother, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He's built a little different, too. Eric Ibar a little thinner. This guy has put together pretty well.
Towering fly ball that'll reach the seats.
You know, when they had that little confrontation in their dugout with Longoria and Upton, it was Ibar who kind of put his arms around B.J. Upton. You can see B.J. Upton wasn't going anywhere.
You can hardly see B.J. Upton.
Yeah.
There was Ibar in his big frame just kind of enveloped Upton. And now 3-2. Ibar, Joyce, and Shopping, middle of the Tampa Bay lineup. And he is pull happy. Everything he's hit has been hit at times sharply down the right field line foul.
Well, he's got 5 home runs on the year, 2 as a left-handed hitter, 3 as a right-handed hitter.
Still 3-2. You take the first half of the year, you double the numbers, that would put the Twins at 88 wins. Do you think 88 wins is enough for this team to get into the postseason again?
I think it's between 88 and 92, somewhere in there. If they can win 90, I think the Twins will be in postseason again.
Yeah, wow. Ibar hitting foul ball after foul ball down the right field line into the seats.
12 pitch at bat between Blackburn and Ibar so far. This will be the 12th pitch.
6 2-strike fouls. And finally a leadoff walk. So the designated hitter really battles and gets a leadoff walk. The Twins have teamed up with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources to turn broken lumber into new trees. Every time this season a Twins pitcher breaks an opponent's bat, 100 new trees will be planted in Minnesota State Parks and Trails. The Twins support the state parks. You can too. Learn more at www.mndnr.gov.
Still one of the best sounds in baseball, a broken bat.
You know, they were pretty popular at one point. You'd have CDs where you'd have soothing sounds. It would be waves crashing on the shoreline, birds chirping, and you would just play it, and it would be a peaceful way. You could put it in your alarm clock and wake up in the morning. I'll bet you probably have one of those. Broken bat, a CD of just broken bats, one right after the other.
Being sawed off. I had no trouble sleeping.
Matt Joyce with a ground ball to first and a strikeout so far. Blackburn, as we said, got 3 ground ball outs in the 5th. See if he can get a ground ball hit at somebody and get a buy one, get one free. There's another fly ball. Span coming in. 1 away. Time for the Comcast high-speed pitch.
Well, James Shields at 93 miles an hour. Nick Blackburn at 94.
Shopping will hit. Struck out in the 2nd, singled in the 4th. It's 8-1 in Seattle in the top of the 9th inning at Comerica Park. Cliff Lee handcuffing the Tigers. White Sox in Texas will play tonight. Mark Burley against Scott Feldman. Inside, ball 1. Have the off day tomorrow. Then they play 3 in Toronto, 3 in Detroit. And then everybody will scatter during the All-Star break, except for Mauer and Morneau.
And hopefully Young.
It's still the greatest All-Star game there is when you contrast it to the other major sports, whether they have them within the season or at the end of the season. Players seem to dodge the All-Star game in many of the other sports, and yet in baseball, here's players like Mauer and Morneau who've been through the grind for 3.5 months, and they still relish the opportunity to, rather than take 3 days and get away from the game, to just keep on playing.
Well, I like what the commissioner did. Bud Selig put a purpose for the All-Star game. Yeah, let's turn 2.
There's one. There's another. And Blackburn has a leadoff walk in the 6th, but faces just 3 men in the inning.
Pitching well, Nick Blackburn and James Shields. Sean Rodriguez, 3 hits in a ball game, a solo home run, giving the Rays a 2-1 lead. Joe Mauer, a single, scored a run, scored on Justin Morneau's RBI double in the 1st inning. Blackburn, 91 pitches in his first 6 innings, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts.
Top of the order for the Twins in the 6th, Span, Hudson, and Maurer. So you like the idea that the All-Star winner determines the World Series format?
Yeah, I do, only because there was a time that there were a lot of key players that didn't want to participate in the All-Star game. You know, you mentioned in the other sports, but there was a time in baseball that seemed like a lot of guys were backing out the last second.
Right.
And that's why the commissioner put that in. And, you know, now there's a purpose. There's a purpose going to that All-Star game. And that's hopefully like a Hank Blaylock can hit a home run late in the ball game. And even though the Rangers at the time that he played for, you know, didn't go to postseason, he still had part in
the American League.
Why the American League got home field advantage.
See, and that's the part I really, it doesn't make any sense to me. Here, it's a called strike 0-2. I just haven't felt comfortable with the fact this year that, you know, the Twins might get home field advantage if they're in the World Series or might not, depending on how Ty Wigginton does in the bottom of the 9th in an All-Star game. Wigginton is a good player, having a great year for a terrible team, and why Ty Wigginton should dictate which team gets home field advantage in the World Series just has never made any sense to him.
Well, let's hope he does and gives the American League the advantage.
Span retired, one away. The way they used to determine home field advantage never made a whole lot of sense either. It was just alternate years. There would be, you know, maybe a better way to do it would be to have interleague play, and whichever league wins all, you know, the interleague competition, that league should get the home field advantage.
What about whoever you're playing has the best record? You know, if the Twins have 90 wins and they play, for instance, you're going to pick a team, Florida Marlins, they won 89, then the Twins get home field.
Sure, that's fine too.
So I mean, you know, the regular season means something. A lot of different scenarios, but this is the one that Bud Selig, the commissioner of baseball, came up with, and just. It's an event now, and you know, in Anaheim, I mean, they're looking forward to this All-Star game. I mean, it's a week-long event.
Another fly ball. This one hit right at Carl Crawford. 2 quick outs here in the 6th. You can visit the official online shop of the Twins at twinsbaseball.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, authentic classics for the whole family. You can get your gear from the official source, the twinsbaseball.com shop, and accept no substitutes.
You know, I was fortunate to go to 2 All-Star games in 1973, my first, and that's all it was. You just, you know, you showed up on Monday, maybe had a little practice, and you played the game Tuesday, and you're gone. In 1985, my second one is almost the same, but now they have the red carpet. They have so much involved, you know, for the players to participate in. The fan fest that they put together. I can't wait for the All-Star game one year to be here at Target Field.
The hope is that it will be here in 2014. That's the last I've heard. 1-0 to Maurer. And a strike, 1-1. When they had the game here last in 1985, it was the very first home run derby, but it was a league competition. There wasn't an individual deal at all. It was the American League against the National League. And Tom Bernansky, representing the American League, ended up getting the deciding home run.
Yeah, you know what? It was really bad because the American League wanted me to pitch that, too.
And these are the American League hitters.
Yes.
1-2 to Maurer. Twins haven't done much offensively against Shields, who, again, has lost his last 7 decisions as a starter. 2-2. Remember the honorary captains in 1985 were Sandy Koufax and Harmon Killebrew. 20 years after they faced each other in the World Series. Two and 2 to Maurer. Doinked down the left field line. Crawford has a lot of speed, and he makes a nice running catch. So Shields has his second 1-2-3 inning, and for the 3rd inning in a row, he faces just 3 batters.
Evan Longoria with a triple past the diving Jason Kubel. That scores Rodriguez. And then the Twins come back and tie it in the bottom of the first, thanks to the RBI double by Justin Morneau, scoring Joe Mauer. And then Sean Rodriguez, a home run, his 6th of the year, a solo home run leading off the third. And that's where we're at. Both pitchers have pitched outstanding. Blackburn giving up 6 hits. He's thrown 91 pitches, 67 for strikes. And James Shields, 74 pitches in 6 innings.
Pena, Upton, and Bartlett, bottom third of the Tampa Bay lineup to face Blackburn here. Pena 0 for 2, a grounder to first and a fly ball to center, and he taps another one up the line, foul. All right. Twins fans have seen it too. Blackburn now back-to-back starts at home, and they've both been good, if not very good. The challenge will be getting him to have starts like this somehow on the road.
Yeah, again, he's 5-0 here at Target Field this year, but over his young career, a career that really lasts 3 seasons, there's a line drive into right field for a base hit for Pena. But he's 20-7 here in Minnesota in 40 career starts. And on the road, that's not good. On the road, he's really struggled. Comfort here, probably. Hopefully, in the second half, he'll improve on a 2-5 record on the road in 8 starts with an ERA at 9.4.
B.J. Upton is a single in 2 trips. Upton, of course, a tougher guy to double up. Blackburn hoping to complete 7 in a 2-1 ball game. The bullpen starting to stir a little bit. And Upton swings away and taps it foul. Well, ultimately, whoever wins the American League Central, it might depend on the likes of Blackburn and Baker and Slowey pitching better on the road than they did in the first half. Got to find a way to get it done. Dunsing warming up, and there's a ground ball through the hole. Upton with a hit. Pena will round second and hold up there. So a 2-1 ball game, but the Rays have back-to-back singles to start the 7th inning.
Yeah, both Pena and Upton had not been able to get a hit yet in this series.
Chevy game break with the White Sox playing in Texas tonight. Cliff Lee did not go the distance, but he pitched another great ball game and beating the Tigers 8-1. 1 walk, 11 strikeouts.
Well, there's a guy that can win on the road.
Jesse Crane joining Brian Dunsing. See if Bartlett's asked to bunt here with 2 on and nobody out. Outside a ball. Of course, Upton at first very fast. The runner at second, Pena, doesn't have a whole lot of speed, so Bartlett might be asked to bunt, and there, depending on the quality of the bunt, there might be a play at third base.
Well, Bartlett leads the Rays with 6 sacrifices. He laid down a bunt here the other night.
That's a good bunt, and he's got to hurry. And the ball thrown up the line, and a run's going to score. And that'll be it with Bartlett going to second. Blackburn had to hurry his throw. It sailed up the line, wasn't caught, and it's a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't really get a good grip on this ball right here and threw it up the line. So Bartlett does get a sacrifice. It'll be an error on Blackburn, throwing the ball away.
It's one of the Twins' problems on Thursday night when the Rays were giving the Twins an out. They didn't take the out. And here's another instance here. Actually, that was in Liriano's start in the Detroit series earlier in the homestand. So big meeting on the mound. Rick Anderson out there. With all the white caps, kind of looks like a scene from Field of Dreams out there. And the Rays with an additional run here in the 7th and a chance to break the game open here. Blackburn in a tough spot now, having to face Rodriguez, a guy he has not retired yet today. Rodriguez with a pair of singles and a home run against Blackburn.
And the infield will have to come in here, try to keep it at a 3-1 ball game.
Popped up, and Morneau tracking it. Hudson tracking it, and it's out of the reach of both of them. Had the catch been made, Upton likely would have streaked home with a run. It would have been hard for either player to make the catch, and the momentum carrying them away from home plate get much on a throw.
Hudson had the furthest way to go because he was trying to keep Bartlett close to second. But that ball just kind of lands in no man's land right there, just out of the reach of Hudson and Justin. And Kubel really had no chance to get to it.
One strike. Backhanded beautifully by Hardy, and they get the out. With the infield in, Hardy had to field a tough hop to get the out.
Yeah, very nice play right there by J.J. Hardy, laying it off to his right. Making sure he gets it in the glove with an open glove. And gets the out at first.
See if they pitch to Crawford here with first base open.
Well, they're going to go ahead and walk him.
So they've gotten one out on a ground ball, and with Longoria due up next, the hope is Blackburn will be able to get another ground ball hit at somebody. These 4 intentional balls taking Blackburn over the 100 pitch count. You want a fresh pitcher in to get to pitch to Longoria, you go with the sinker baller.
Don't go to me with a pitch count because Lariano had 103 yesterday and only worked 7 innings. So
no, but I mean,
no.
Regardless of the pitch,
I stay with the sinker right here.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're looking for, right? You want a ground ball. So they're loaded up, one out. You might have been able to hear Ron Gardenhire in the background saying, ground ball here, let's go.
And he was talking to Longoria about that too.
Corner infielders are, well, I was going to say up, but Kanayer back a few steps, but I think if the ball's hit to him, he'll come home and get the force. And instead, the ground ball goes right up the middle, and it's going to score 2. So the Rays get 3 at least here in the 7th inning and have opened up the ball game. It's 5-1.
Well, Longoria picking up his 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the ball game. And Ron Gardenhire going up the steps. There'll be a pitching change here as Blackburn got the ground ball, but Longoria hitting it right up the middle for a 2-run single.
So Blackburn takes the game into the 7th, but 3 hits, an intentional walk, a misplay on a bunt, and the Rays have opened it up to 5-1. And Brian Dunsing will pitch next. The chance to play at Target Field. The training camp's mission is to bring quality baseball and softball instruction to all the kids in Twins territory. If you'd like the dates and locations, log on today to twinsbaseball.com and register for a Twins training camp near you. Now, yesterday, the Twins had the game under control until the bullpen had a rough go of it late in the game. Now the Twins are hoping the bullpen can keep the Twins in it.
Well, the first one out of the bullpen that was not going to be used and did not get used yesterday was Brian Dunsing. Great numbers for Dunsing, but he will be facing Willie Ibar now as a right-handed hitter, where he's hitting .241.
One out, Ibar, 0 for 2 with a walk as a left-handed batter against Blackburn, and he takes strike one. Fouled away. It's been odd to see the Twins lose a couple of games in this series because of the shortcoming of the bullpen, when the bullpen all year long has been one of the team's strengths.
And it still has the lowest earned run average in the American League at 3.06. So they just had an ugly hiccup in yesterday's ball game. Those guys out there have done a great job.
2 strikes to Ibar. And although Matt Guerrero was tagged with the decision Thursday night and again yesterday, it was, I mean, everybody had a hand in it. Alex Burnett had a tough time getting outs in the 7th. Jose Majaras faced one man, had a tough time. Guerrero almost pitched out of a terrible situation successfully until the home run.
Yeah, just an ugly 8th inning. That's all it was.
Still 2 strikes.
High fives all around.
Dunsing with a sub 200 earned run average, an opponent batting average of under 200. Trying to get that ground ball hit at somebody here. And Ibar, remember that long battle he had with Blackburn in the 6th, when it was 13 pitches before Blackburn finally walked him. And now he's having the same type of battle from the other side of the plate against Dunsing. 2 2-strike fouls here. Third strike.
Good.
Ibar is out number 2.
Good fastball middle in right there by Dunsing. So Brian picks up his 23rd strikeout in 35 2/3 innings. Goes inside. And a very good pitch. Picks up the 2nd out of the inning. Gabe Kapler is going to pinch hit for Matt Joyce. Kapler is a pinch hitter, 1 for 8 so far on the year.
Down low, ball 1.
I think one thing we have seen in this 4-game series that Joe Madden, he lets everybody play. I mean, he gets everybody in. We haven't seen one lineup in the 4 ball games that has been the same. It's just switching guys around. Other than maybe, you know, Crawford and Longoria, it's been all switched around.
Down low again, 2-0. you can look at the Twins' schedule recently and say, well, there's a reason this team has just kind of been bobbing around 500 for the last month or so, because they played some tough teams. But then you look a little closer at the schedule, and the teams that the Twins should be able to beat, the Orioles, the Brewers, they've had more difficulty. There's a drive to left center field, and that's going to run all the way to the wall and score 2 more runs. So Kapler on a 2-0 pitch hits a screaming line drive for a 2-run double.
Yeah, Dunsing looked like he left a breaking ball right there, and Kapler picking up a 2-run double. And now it's a 7-1 ball game. Now fastball down, and Kapler, now 2 for 9 as a pinch hitter, drives in his first 2 runs as a pinch hitter.
Joe Madden is brilliant. The use of his bench. He got a pinch hit grand slam last night and a big 2-run pinch hit double here. Shopik the hitter with a runner at second and 2 down. 9th man to bat here in the 7th. Ball 1. Anyway, we were talking about the schedule, and the one team that has really struggled this year that the Twins have faced in the last 3-4 weeks, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Twins were swept. And they had the Orioles in here earlier this year, worst team in the American League, and they split a 4-game series.
Actually, after they swept, the Brewers beat the Twins, the Brewers have been playing better baseball.
Yeah. Shopik with a high drive to deep center, and Span puts it away to put an end to a long 7th inning, started by Nick Blackburn, and he was charged with 5 runs in the inning, 4 of them earned.
Of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota and the Do campaign and encourage you to get up and groove your body during the 7th inning stretch.
She's grooving her body. Beautiful little baby.
And the Twins will try to come back now. 3 innings worth of at-bats left against James Shields and the Rays bullpen, down by 6. Justin Morneau driving in a game-tying run in the first inning with a double. The Twins haven't done anything against him since. There's ball 1. It'll be the middle of the Twins lineup. Morneau, Kubel, and Kadire. Kepler staying in the game. He's in right field. Morneau takes outside, 2-0. Twins don't get this game turned around. They will have experienced their first losing homestand at Target Field.
Well, you know what, they're playing the Rays in this 4-game series, where the Rays, if they win today, they are 28-14 on the road.
Right.
They are a very good road ball club. They're 20-19 at Tropicana Field in Florida. And here's a guy right here. He has a 1 in his last 7 starts. So that 5 runs in the 7th inning, he says thank you very much. He's pitched a very good ball game. Gave the Twins the run in the first. He's been tough ever since.
Short center, and that's going to die in no man's land. So Morneau with a leadoff single here in the 7th. And Twins hope to come back in this game. Probably imperative that they come back with something here in the 7th inning. And the leadoff man is on, and that'll get Kubel to the plate. Back to our trivia question. The only other Twin that I can think of besides Joe Mauer to lead the All-Star voting in the American League was Rod Carew. And I know up until recently, of course it's all changed with all the internet voting, but Rod was the all-time leader in votes cast under the old system where you had to punch out the ballots. Here's Kubel, 1 for 2. Dropped a base hit into center his last time up. Up and away, ball 1. Four times in the 6 prior innings, Shields has faced just 3 men. He faced 4 batters in the 3rd and 5 batters in the 1st when the Twins scored their only run so far. Inside, and it's 2-0. And now with the count 2-0, the Rays put on the big shift.
Well, watch Shields right here. I know Mike Mussina really used to dip his bat taking the stretch, but unusual type of get to my balance point or my stretch position type of move by Shields. I wonder if you get into a habit of doing that.
3-0. Why would they wait until 2-0 to put this shift on? You have any idea?
No. Maybe more of a fastball situation. Feel that Kubel will pull the fastball. Takes a fastball right there. Kubel should get another fastball right here. 7-1 lead. You want Kubel to swing the bat if you're a pitcher.
He walked him. So blue hit. Now a walk. Kadire to the plate with a couple of men aboard.
Well, as a former starter, I tell you what, that ate at me more than anything. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, coming out to talk to Scott Shields, but your team just scores 5 for you. You give up a blue hit, that's understandable, but then when you walk the next guy, it just eats it. That's what Hickey's going to do, is just walk out here and try to get him refocused.
Well, seems like it's been forever since Kadire's hit a home run. This would be a good spot for him to hit one. It's been even longer since he's hit one here. It's been nearly 5 weeks since Kadire's hit a home run, and that was in Seattle in early June.
Yep. Grant Belfour looks like he will be looking for a ball that he likes and starting to rev up that arm.
Friday night, the Twins put together a 2-run ambush with 2 outs in the inning. Here they're trying to get something started before Shields even gets an out, but they are down by 6. And cut into it with a good at bat here by Kadire. Strike on the outside corner. Kadire bounced into a double play his last time up. fouled. Just barely. Knocked down by Longoria. 2 strikes.
Kadire getting a fastball in. Longoria going over there, but it's a foul ball.
And a base hit to left. Morneau to third, and on an 0-2 pitch, Kadire might have snapped his bat, but he got a base hit. So now the Twins are trying to come back in their half of the 7th. And they're loaded up now for Jim Thome. Pretty good slugging percentage for Thome in this homestand. He has hit 4 home runs, a triple, and he has really started to pound the ball here at Target Field.
Well, you saw Grant Belfort just get up, so James Shields probably given the opportunity here, which he's going to pitch to Jim Thome because of the 6-run lead.
Thome singled to left his last time up. Checked his swing, and he took ball 1. This is where the Twins lineup is different than in other years. He's the 7th place hitter, yet I'm not sure there's anybody the Twins would rather have up in this situation than Jim Thome. Two and 0. With Delman Young on deck.
And again, you see the eye of Jim Thome and the patience he has.
And a strike in the outside corner.
And if you're James Shields, you throw the same pitch.
Foul, and it's 3-2. Thome's shown such extraordinary power to the opposite field.
That ball a little bit on the high side, but Thome fouling it off that front foot.
Been this way for Thome his whole career. You expect him to do one of 2 things: clear the bases. 3 things: clear the bases, walk, or strike out. Driven hard to right field. Two-run score. And Thome drives in 2 more.
And a good base running decision right there by Jim Thome. He smoked this ball right here. As he rounded first, he saw that Kapler had to, play that carom off the wall, and he decides he maybe could have tried to go to second, but he knew because of the way the ball was hit so hard, it came back to Kapler very quickly. Even though he fumbled it, he got back to first base. A big 2-run single by Jim Thome, closing this ball game at 7-3.
Well, the Twins couldn't string anything together against Shields until the 7th when they knock him out. 29 comedy lineup.
Well, there's been 36 runs scored in these 4 ball games and 23 from the 7th inning on. But you know what? I mean, both clubs have really put up some big numbers late in these ball games.
Well, 5 is an awfully big number. The Rays got that in the 7th, and now the Twins with nobody out are threatening to at least get some of those back. They already have gotten 2 back, and boy, a good at bat here by Delman Young would change everything in this game.
Well, Belfour coming in out of that bullpen, making his 34th appearance. Grant Belfour, of course, with the Twins from 2003 to 2005. Went through the Tommy John surgery, went through shoulder surgery. And now in his 4th season with the Rays, has done a good job out on their bullpen.
Young 0 for 2, a couple of ground balls to short. Pena coming well off the bag at first. He won't bother to hold Thome on. Outside ball 1. So far in this series, the Rays bullpen has been more reliable than the Twins. When they came back on Friday night, they did it against David Price, the starter, in the 7th. Foul back, 1-1. Balfour still has the fastball that can overpower hitters. One and one. Rip to left. Kadyr's going to score. And Thome checks in at second. So Young drives in a run, and the inning starts with 4 hits and a walk.
Well, it looked like an off-speed pitch. Maybe a changeup's left up right there, and Delman hits it hard in the left field. He picks up his 55th RBI of the year. Hits at 87 miles an hour.
And now J.J. Hardy, who suddenly represents the tying run. Pena offering some advice, encouragement. Hardy with a pop to short and a strikeout against James Shields. The one element that Hardy brings to the Twins lineup that Nick Punto does not is power. He has hit 3 home runs, and this would be a great chance to hit his 4th. The Rays expecting a bunt, have Pena about 60 feet from home plate as strike 1 is delivered. J.J. Hardy has 1 sacrifice bunt and 144 at bats. Now Pena giving some signs. And he'll go to the mound directly to Balfour and tell him what play is on. Time called. You think Hardy's going to be asked to bunt here?
I think it should be swinging away right here.
I'd be inclined to believe that too. Takes outside, 1-1. By shortening up the right side of the infield, Hardy's got a great chance to shoot one through to keep this string of hits continuing here. As Balfour delivers, Pena will creep even closer from first base. Lifted foul and out of play, 1-2.
Now that'll make Pena go back behind the runner. Delman Young at first base.
Twins have already cut the Rays' lead in half. It's 7-4. Left-hander Randy Choate getting loose. With the Twins having Span, Hudson, Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel. Lefty switch, lefty, lefty, lefty due up next. 1-2 to J.J. Hardy. 2-2.
Balfour pitched in yesterday's ballgame. He gave up a double to Kadire and an RBI double to Thome, the only two batters he faced. He's already given up an RBI single here to Delman Young.
2-2 to Hardy. High and deep to center. Thome setting up for a tag. Young does not. Thome will advance. One away on a deep fly ball. Given Thome's speed or lack of it, that might be a significant advance for Thome to get from second to third. Now on a hit to the outfield, he will score as opposed to probably being held up.
Well, he saw that that ball was deep enough to where Upton had to go back and basically catch it behind him. So he does tag up and move over to third. Now Span, who's looking for his first hit of the ball game, this would be a good place for it.
With a deep drive foul down the right field line in his last at bat. Around the hands. Not much speed at third, but good speed both at first and at the plate. One and 0 to Span. 2-0. Bouncer. Great stop by Pena. Nowhere for Thome to go. Young advances to second, and a great catch by Carlos Pena to take an extra base hit away from Denard Span.
Pena, Gold Glove winner at first base, jumps off the bag, but then goes back and leaps. And Tim Cheetah right there, the first base umpire, saying that was a fair ball.
I think he's right. I think Pena gloved it when it was still in fair territory. Well, now a big at bat here for Hudson. If he can get a hit to the outfield, should be able to drive in a couple runs. There's a foul into the seats. Hudson singled in the third. Get a ground ball to short and a fly to left. Nice stop by Longoria, and he will end the inning. The corner infielders turn in some Gold Glove caliber play. The Twins score 3 but leave 2 in scoring position.
Just want to give a shout out to the Minnesota Twins. Good luck on your season this year. I'll be back to watch you as soon as I can.
Yeah, we can't wait for her to come back and watch Minnesota Twins baseball.
Hurry home. 7-4, the Rays in front. We go to the 8th inning, and Alex Burnett comes out of the Twins bullpen.
Alex Burnett started that inning in yesterday's 7-run 8th inning for the Tampa Bay Rays. He faced only 2 batters. They were able to get a couple hits. So Alex Burnett looking to redeem himself here this afternoon, making his 31st relief appearance.
He'll face Carlos Pena, who turned in a nice defensive play in the bottom of the 7th. He also started the top of the 7th with a sharp single to right. And by inning's end, the Rays had 5 runs up on the board. I may have miscounted the earned runs in the 7th inning. 5 runs allowed, and now that I look at it, probably just 2 of them earned. Bartlett should have been retired on the sacrifice. Rodriguez struck out. Ibar, or grounded out. Ibar struck out. That would have been the end of the inning, and then Kapler drove in 2 with a double. So should be used to it by now, but let me correct myself. 5 runs by Blackburn in the 7th, but only 2 of them earned. 1-1 to Pena. Be followed by Upton and Bartlett. Two and 1. Mariners and Cliff Lee beat Detroit 8-1. So the Twins have a chance, if they can turn this game around and win, to move back into sole possession of first place. But as it is, they're still down by 3 runs. Left up, and Pena fouled it back. I mentioned before, there's a sense of urgency with the Rays in winning this year because a couple of cornerstone players don't figure to be with them next year. Crawford and Pena. And the 2 players are having polar opposite years as they approach free agency. Sharply hit. Pena starts the 8th with a base hit.
That's what I think what the Rays want out of Pena in the second half. Just a better batting average, but he's still driving in runs.
If you missed out on the first Twins tradition wall here at Target Field, you've got a second opportunity. You can have your name or your family name etched permanently on the Target Plaza by participating in the tradition wall program. First wall, of course, sold out. So you should act quickly the second time around. Go to twinsbaseball.com or call 877-TWIN-WALL. Here's Upton picking up an in-ball 1.
Yeah, showing bunt right there. There's Tom Foley, the third base coach. Go through signs. Upton looking down. Upton does not have a sacrifice yet this year.
And a bunt foul, 1-1. Joe Madden's team can hopefully, they hope, have a better second half. Upton kind of jabbed at it, flinched a little bit. 1-1. Some really good team out of the East is not going to make it. And maybe 2 teams aren't going to make it, but the Yankees, Red Sox, and Tampa Bay can't all be represented in the playoffs. 2-1 to Upton. There goes Pena, and the pitch popped up. And Hardy has to wait a long time, but eventually it comes down 1 away. And of course, the worst case scenario for the Rays is they don't get in the playoffs, and then they lose Pena and Crawford through free agency and don't get anything back but draft picks.
And their draft picks are a lot of #1 draft picks. They were.
Yeah. Here's Bartlett.
Pena, former #1 draft pick by the Rangers. Crawford, a #1 pick by the Rays. Excuse me, #2 pick back in '99.
Ooh, nearly thrown away.
Nice play by Justin right there, getting around Pena.
Bartlett dropped down a bunt. Nick Blackburn threw it wildly past first. A big play in the 5-run 7th inning. Bounce foul behind Tom Foley. So Blackburn's numbers in terms of earned runs similar to his last start. Took the game into the 7th inning. Just had some things pile up on him in the 7th. And now Burnett trying to pitch a quiet, orderly 8th. 1-1.
Well, this is another guy, Jason Bartlett, right here at home plate that, they hope that he can bounce back to the year he had last year in the second half when he hit .320. Hit 14 home runs, stole 30 bases. He has only 3 stolen bases on the year. Only 2 home runs.
Runner goes, and a hit and run, and a beautifully executed hit and run with Bartlett sending a 3-hopper through the hole to short. First and third, 1 away.
Well, it was J.J. Hardy that was going to second base to get the throw from Joe Mauer. And watch that big hole on the left of your infield screen right there. And the ball just bounces into left field. Bartlett picks up his first hit of the ball game.
Boy, that's one thing that's been impressive about the Rays in this 4-game series. They have executed. Twins put a hit and run on back in Hardy's at bat in the 5th inning and ended up getting Young thrown out at second. Hardy then struck out and the inning was over. The Twins have just answered with 3 runs in the 7th and can ill afford to give back runs in the 8th. So first and third, 1 down, and Sean Rodriguez will hit against Burnett. Baltimore beat Boston 6-1. So as the Rays try to close in on the Yankees and Red Sox, they've got an opportunity to do that with Boston at least. Toronto and the Yankees tied at 6 in the top of the 10th.
Yeah, you look at that lineup for the Boston Red Sox, a lot of new names in that lineup.
Man,
a lot of guys on the disabled list for the Red Sox.
Rodriguez with 3 hits in his first 3 at bats. And a safety squeeze looked like with Rodriguez offering at it 1 strike.
Yeah, what's a safety squeeze? You saw Ramirez try to bunt right there, and then Pena's not coming. A lot of times a squeeze will have that runner going. And Rodriguez wants Tom Foley to go through the signs again.
And Bartlett threw it all, a threat to steal, of course. Twins trying to get a double play ball, holding Bartlett at first. And now a swing and a miss, 2 strikes.
Good fastball down and in by Alex Burnett.
Burnett with 27 strikeouts in 35 innings. Hoping to get a big one here. Mayhay warming up with left-hand hitting Carl Crawford on deck.
Yeah, he got a big strikeout here on Thursday night of Longoria, and that pitch down and in.
2 strikes to Rodriguez. Bouncer to short. They've got one. Double play. Burnett gets out of it, and the Twins put up a 0 in the top of the 8th.
I'm with the 304th Pad. I'm out of Fort Snelling, Minnesota, currently stationed at Fob Lightning, Afghanistan. Wanted to say hi to my family and friends, wife Ann, daughter Cassie, son Joey, and wanted to tell Joe Mauer to hit a home run for me and say, "Go Twins!"
Well, Joe Mauer will lead off the 8th for the Twins. Maybe save that home run for with a couple of guys on in the 9th, but happy 4th of July to Twins fans wherever you are in Twins territory. And if that extends to Army bases overseas, so be it. Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel, 3 lefties, facing the only lefty in the Tampa Bay bullpen, Randy Choate.
Yeah, Randy Choate has been used a lot, making his 41st relief appearance, 20 innings. So not, they usually come in to face 1 or 2 batters. He has 22 strikeouts in the 20 innings with 6 walks and 2 intentional walks. Choate give you that sidearm delivery, big sweeping breaking ball.
He was brought into the ball game here on Thursday night to face the same sequence of pitchers. Or hitters rather, and he only faced Mauer and Morneau. Mauer got a double against him. Morneau advanced him to 3rd on a deep fly ball, and then Joe Maddon went elsewhere to try to get the rest of the outs in the inning. It was Benoit who was asked to pitch to Kubel and Kadire. Kubel drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. 1-1.
And Choate did the same thing yesterday. Faced Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel, and retired all 3 with a fly ball out off the bat of Morneau and a couple strikeouts. So if you have one lefty, you have to really put him in the right situation, and this is the right situation for Joe Maddon to bring in Randy Choate.
2-1. Fouled away, and so the fan might ask, well, now why would the Twins then have 3 lefties hitting in a row? And Ron Gardenhire will tell you it's because all 3 hit left-handed pitching pretty well. Mauer and Morneau and even Kubel as of late has handled left-handers much better than he did in the first month of the season.
And this is game 4. They have already seen him 2 times. So they have an idea what Choate will try to do with them.
Two and 2 to Mauer. Outside. Twins started the 7th inning with 4 singles and a walk. They got 3. They left 2 in scoring position. Now hoping to recongest the bases here in the 8th. Roller to short, and Bartlett has it. Over to Pena, 1 away. And that'll bring up Morneau. If you just joined us, Justin 1 out in the balloting. He will be the American League first baseman, starting first baseman in the All-Star game in Anaheim.
And he's going to go there with some very impressive numbers. 2 hits here this afternoon, 31 multi-hit games. Ichiro Suzuki leading the American League with 36.
Breaking ball, missing, ball 1. Fastball and a strike. Specifically, Morneau's average against lefties, .327. Down and in, 2-1. High, and it's 3-1. Morneau with a pair of important hits for the Twins. The 2-out double that drove in Mauer in the first, the leadoff single and a run scored in the 7th. Bouncer to the right side, right at Pena. Out number 2.
Well, he had some sink on that fastball right there on a 3-1 pitch, and Justin just hit the top half of the ball and hit that ground ball to Pena. So Choate retiring the first 2 left-handers he's faced.
Here's Kubel. He's reached his last 2 times up. Look at the last 5 plate appearances. The Twins had 5 batters reach in a row. Now Balfour and Choate have retired 5 men in a row. Hardy was retired on a deep fly. Span and Hudson were retired on good plays by the corner infielders, and now Mauer and Morneau retired. And it's the type of relief work the Twins have grown to expect from their relievers. They just haven't been getting that kind of relief work in this series. 1-1 to Kubel. Might be headed up the middle. Nice backhanded play by Rodriguez. Got him. What a play by Sean Rodriguez. 3 ground ball outs, and Choate gets the 3 lefties. Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel. 5-run seventh opening up the game, and the Twins trying to come back late against the Rays. We go to the 9th inning, and Ron Mayhew comes out of the Twins' pen.
Well, for Ron Mayhew, his 27th relief appearance, 3.91 earned run average. 23 innings pitched for Mayhew. He's walked only 5 with 17 strikeouts. Giving up 23 hits.
And Mayhew will face Crawford, Longoria, and Ibar, the switch hitter. Crawford drew an intentional walk in the 7th. It was one of those deals where Ron Gardenhire making the move, and it made all the sense in the world. Longoria hit a sharp ground ball up the middle for a 2-run single instead of a ground ball at somebody to get the Twins out of the inning. That's kind of the way this series has gone, and Gardy admitted as much after the game last night, yesterday, saying, you know, it's on me. Everything I tried to do to try to stop the bleeding in the 8th inning didn't work.
Well, Mayhew did pitch the 9th inning yesterday and had a 1-2-3 inning.
2-1 to Crawford.
Threw 12 pitches, 8 for strikes. Faced Crawford yesterday, and Crawford hit a 1-hopper back to him.
2-2. Crawford will be a starting outfielder. I'll be curious who the American League has playing center in the All-Star game, because they've got the 3 corner outfielders, check swing, 3 and 2, who were voted in. You've got Ichiro, Josh Hamilton. Hamilton was a center fielder as recently as last year, but he's been moved to the corner outfield spot, and Crawford.
Well, arm strength wise, you'd have to go with Ichiro. And Mayhew picks up a strikeout.
1 down on the 9th.
So Mayhew goes to the breaking ball right here, and Crawford swings through it.
Here's Longoria, 2-run producing hits, a triple in the 1st and a single in the 7th. Ball 1. And a strike at the on the outside corner. Longoria will be backed up at third base by Adrian Beltre of the Red Sox in the All-Star game. And Alex Rodriguez. I say that in that order because I think if you really looked at it objectively, you'd say Beltre's probably had a better first half than Alex Rodriguez. Yankees came back to beat Toronto 7-6. Swing and a miss by Longoria. So the best the Rays can do is pick up a game on Boston. The Red Sox have already lost.
Hey, you look at this young man, Longoria, his first season just a couple of years ago when he was American League Rookie of the Year. Started that season actually in AAA, played only 7 ball games, came up. And this will be his 3rd All-Star game already in his first 3 years. Very talented young man at 24.
And that's the one thing the Rays do have going for them in the event they lose Crawford to free agency after this year. They've got a successor in Evan Longoria, somebody else who can be the marquee guy. The Twins lost Torrey Hunter a few years ago. Well, they had Morneau and Maurer who were here already. To backhanded attempt by Kadir comes up short, and Longoria has another extra base hit. A one-out double here in the ninth.
Yeah, his third hit of the ball game. And Longoria, you know, when he first came up in 2008, within a matter of a week, the Rays signed him to a long-term deal, a 6-year contract with a club option that'll take him through 2016. #100th double of his young career for Evan Longoria.
Ibar, the hitter. 0 for 3 with a walk. When you're a mid or small market franchise, you don't really descend into the dark ages unless you lose a marquee player and don't have somebody to sustain fan interest, and that won't be the case in Tampa Bay if they do lose Crawford and Pena.
Well, I think Tampa's hoping that B.J. Upton, you know, tries to find himself, a very talented young man. They're hoping Matt Joyce develops into a better hitter at the major league level, like he did good numbers at the minor league level.
Fouled back. The general fan interest, I guess, is the biggest issue in St. Petersburg, with the Rays struggling in attendance. Earlier this year, they had the best record in the major leagues. They had the Red Sox in town for a game and only drew 20,000 fans. 1-2 to Ibar, and now 2-2. Mayhew trying to keep this game within reach. Twins are down by 3. And another full count. Kapler on deck. Ibar uncoils and misses. 2 down.
Well, Mayhew picking up his second strikeout.
And that'll bring up Kapler, who delivered a 2-run pinch hit double his last time up.
I think Ibar wanted to hit it over the roof.
First pitch, a breaking ball at the belt, strike 1. Kapler says, okay. And a fastball outside. Twins have an off day tomorrow. The Rays will open up a 3-game series with the Red Sox tomorrow night at home. Two and 1. 22 pitches, 11 strikes, 11 balls for Mayhew, but he struck out a couple of batters and is one good pitch away from pitching a scoreless ninth.
The closer Soriano loosening up along with Dan Wheeler. It's a save situation.
Popped up and out of play. Delman Young fan catching that foul ball. A lot more of those around these days, aren't there? Delman Young fans. Another big hit for the Twins tonight. And maybe an all-star season for Delman Young. That foul, and Bauer can't hang on. You can do your part to help Delman get to the All-Star game. He's got some stiff competition. Michael Young, Kevin Youkilis, Nick Swisher, and Paul Konerko.
Come on. Gone. Vote for Delman.
Little pop-up. It looks like Mayhay has pitched out of it. Hardy in on the grass with the catch. 3 to make up for the Twins. They'll send Kadire, Thome, and Young up in the bottom of the ninth.
The ball game, he's driven in 3 runs. John Rodriguez with a solo home run. They gave him a 2-1 lead, but then they scored 5 runs in the 7th inning. Twins came back with 3 in the bottom of the 7th. They're still trailed by 3 runs. And Rafael Soriano coming into the ball game. He already has 2 saves in this 4-game series. Looking for save number 21, and this is the guy that Joe Madden was really pushing for to get into the All-Star game. Soriano in his first season as closer. J.P. Howell was a closer last year. He had 17 saves. And he looks like he's going to have shoulder surgery, so he'll be out the whole season. There's a nice trade that the Rays made with the Braves to get Soriano, now their closer.
Well, you look at his numbers. How can he not make it? We had a question before about who didn't make it. Well, this guy's just been lights out. There are some closers having very, very good years this year. Kadire trying to get something started. And he takes up high, ball 1.
Yeah, Felice with the Texas Rangers.
Right.
Soria
made it.
Soria, yeah.
And hits the inside corner. Jose Valverde for the Tigers on the team, deservedly so.
You can see the weird windup right there, but he does a good job of getting to that balance point. He's stepping to the side. Almost a little bit like Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart had that type of windup. He'd kind of throw out his knee out. Except the hat isn't pulled down like Dave Stewart had.
One and 2. Start of the second half of the year, and I have my personal belief. Everybody does. I think this guy is going to be the key to the Twins in the second half. If they're going to get in the playoffs, Michael Kadire is going to have a bigger second half. Twins need some right-handed power in their lineup. Kadire hasn't hit a home run in a long time. It's low. It's 3-2.
Well, a guy that hit 32 home runs last year, drove in 94 runs. You hope that he finds that home run swing. 7 home runs right now. He's driven only 36.
Full count to Kadire. Struck him out. Reared back and threw it by him. 1-1. And it'll bring up Thome.
Good fastball right here. This challenges Kadire again, a 3-run lead. And he threw that ball right past Michael.
So 1 gone, and here's Thome. A pair of singles his last 2 times up. With the bases loaded in the 7th. Thome did a wicked line drive. Might have actually had some top spin. And it hit the base of the fence in right field and drove in 2. And strike 1.
Well, next in line for Jim Thome as far as home runs, moving up that all-time home run leader is Mark McGwire. And I hope he passes him.
I think for a lot of fans, there are 2 different lists out there. And I'm not sure McGwire is on some lists. Bonds, Palmeiro, Rodriguez. 1-1.
Well, this guy did it naturally right here. This guy is strong.
Sosa. Swing and a miss. 1-2. I always remember when Frank Thomas hit his 500th home run at the other place, the Metrodome. And he made a point of saying that during his press conference. He was really happy that he did it naturally and was never accused of being anything other than naturally big and strong. Same 2 for this guy.
I called him yesterday a plow horse. That's what this guy is. Every farmer needs a good, strong horse, and that's what Jim Thome's been over his career. See Mark McGwire at 583. Then you have Sosa. Then you have, Barry Bonds.
4 guys ahead of Thome have been taken off some list in the minds of some baseball fans.
Yeah, Rodriguez right there, 595.
1-2 to Thome. That's hit to short right field where the second baseman waits and throws him out. Second baseman Rodriguez playing about 75 feet in front of right fielder Gabe Kapler. 2 down. Twins are down to their last out. Delman Young trying to keep the game alive for the Twins. Drove in a run with a single. His last time up. Good series for Delman against his former team, including a home run. Throw out at the plate.
Hey, you look at his numbers, hitting .296, 9 home runs. He's tied with Justin Morneau for the club lead in RBIs. 21 doubles.
And he has given the Twins some right-handed thunder. Breaking ball down and away, 1-1. If I were to guess, I'd say that your key player for the Twins in the second half would be a pitcher.
Well, I'd have to say it's the 3 horsemen right there in Blackburn, Slowey, and Baker. They need to pitch better on the road. Pavano needs to stay where he's at. Liriano's been pitching outstanding.
A little pop fly down the right field line and a long run. And it'll drop for a hit. Young goes to second. And he's in with a double. A pop fly double down the right field line. Young's second hit. And the game's still alive.
Well, bad part on Joe Madden. Why did they didn't have the infielders like they did for Thome? Rodriguez would have just camped underneath that ball right off the end of the bat. Delman Young looking at it go down that right field line. Rodriguez the only one that maybe could have caught it. He comes up a glove short. Good effort though. Delman Young with his 22nd double of the year with his second hit.
Now Hardy trying to keep the game alive. Turned out to be a pretty big out in the Hardy at bat in the 7th inning.
Hardy had 2 hits yesterday in his first time back with the Twins since coming off the disabled list. 0 for 3 so far here this afternoon.
Twins have put 5 batters on base in a row in the 7th inning. And Hardy was at the plate. And it wasn't just that he was retired, but then the next 7 batters were retired. Swing and a miss, and the Twins are down to their last strike. Hardy trying to extend the game to Denard Span. Blocked, kind of, sort of, by Choppett. Not sure whether he did it or Alfonso Marquez did, but somebody kept the ball in the dirt.
Yeah, we won't see Tampa until, the second half, of course, in August. But, this is the Tampa ball club that's going to, I think, hang in there. They played very well in their division, 19-10. They've had great success on the road. All their pitchers, their starters, like the Twins, basically have not missed a start.
1-2 to Hardy.
And they can run the bases.
And they've come to Minnesota and handed the Twins a series loss, and the Twins have just finished their first ever homestand loss here. A homestand where they lost to 4 of the 7 games. Their Verizon player of the game, the second baseman.
Yeah, Sean Rodriguez got the offense going and single had scored in the first inning, and then he put them up 2-1 and with a home run in the 3rd. Added another base hit in the 5th. Made some very nice defensive plays. Sean Rodriguez.
And so the Rays, with a 5-run 7th inning, beat the Twins 7-4. Tuesday, the Twins hit the road to face Toronto on their last road trip before the break. And our coverage begins at 5:30 Central Time. The Twins return to My 29 next Sunday at noon when they wrap up the 3-gamer at Comerica Park against the Detroit Tigers. The Twins won the Tigers series, but they lost this series against the Tampa